you're sharing the screen still. Great. Okay. Good evening, everybody. I actually didn't prepare a PowerPoint presentation on how to prepare a PowerPoint presentation. PowerPoint's been around. Microsoft Office came onto the scene in the 90s, and I've been doing it for about 20 years. And what I want to share is that almost no matter what you're going to do in the rest of your professional career, PowerPoint is going to be a part of it. And particularly our teacher in the other course, his name is Arne Liebert, and he's a high-level application pen tester. And he'll, he'll write a 50-page report of the vulnerabilities on a web app that he's prepared. And then his boss says, okay, prepare a 5-slide PowerPoint presentation to, present your findings. So even if what you're doing is very technical and sophisticated, in the end, you have to sort of dumb it down and simplify it to give over the message in a number of slides, sometimes to a technical team, but sometimes to a non-technical team. And that could be a big part of a person's role. If they're a CISO or if they're in, user awareness, there's a bunch of elements in the cybersecurity world where you're going to be dealing with non-technical people. And so it's very important that you learn how to be able to communicate your messages to people who don't have a technical background. And PowerPoint can be very helpful in that because it's visual, right? Right now I'm talking, but to have visual aids, things you can see, that's the power of PowerPoint. I just want to share, again, because I am a generation older than you guys. When I was a kid, they didn't have PowerPoint, okay? They didn't have the internet. They had computers, but they were really simple. But what they had was called an overhead, where you had they were called transparencies, and they would use magic marker to write on the transparency, and then they would put a light, and they would shine it on a screen. And so we looked at the screen. The teacher would prepare some things and teach them on the overhead projector, it was called. And so PowerPoint has taken that, much further. The truth is PowerPoint has not advanced dramatically over the past 20 years. It's a great and powerful tool. It's sort of happening right now is AI made PowerPoint presentations. And today I did go to an AI website to make a PowerPoint presentation, and I see it's still turning, like technology didn't work for me. So I don't know if the site doesn't work or my computer doesn't work, but I did not create an AI PowerPoint presentation, but that is a possibility. So I want before I show you a little bit of the tool itself, I want to talk about one of the most important concepts, I think, both in your career and in your thinking as an adult, is what I'm going to call strategic thinking. Of before you do anything, ask yourself, what is the goal? Why am I doing this? What am I trying to accomplish? To whom am I communicating? And how are they going to understand my message? How am I going to get them to understand or do what I want them to understand and what I want them to do? So take your own head and put yourself in their shoes. And it's not just for empathy or because you like other people. It could be you're manipulative and egocentric and narcissistic and manipulative, but you want to think about what's the other guy thinking. And so you're going to craft your messaging, your language, and your images based on what you're trying to give over to the target audience. So you want to think, who is my target audience? Am I talking to fifth graders? Am I talking to a bunch of CTOs? Or am I talking to the business team? Or am I talking to a cyber class? So who is the audience for this presentation? And how am I going to adjust my messaging and the tools that I use in order to succeed in giving over my stuff to this audience? So just to say sort of what happened and why I initiated this with Dory a while back was one of the things you don't want to do is prepare your written presentation, which is, let's say, a Word file or ultimately maybe a PDF, and read from it. Okay. Like what if I sit here and I read from it and you can't even see my face and my mouth moving because I'm covering with my paper. That's not an effective means of communication. to read off a piece of paper because it loses sort of the power and the energy of a human being talking to you, like eye contact, and just to see the animation that I have in giving over this message. I care, and we're interacting. I'll tell you a Hebrew I'll tell you what I'll call a vort from the Mishnah. The word dibur in Hebrew, the Hebrew word dibur could be translated to the English word intercourse. And intercourse is like verbal intercourse. It's like two people connecting. So there's actually a Mishnah in Ketubot of Ra'uha midaberet. They saw a woman midaberet, and the idea is they saw her getting involved with another human being, like Hakadosh Baruch Hu gave us Aseret Hadibrot. Hakadosh Baruch Hu midaber itanu. Dibur is with two parties. There has to be an interconnection. There's intercourse between the two parties, verbal intercourse. And so that's the power of communication, that it's connecting people. Whereas if I'm just looking down at my paper and reading, so it's just me and my paper, and that's not an effective way to create a connection with the people in the room. So PowerPoint is a good way to create a connection with the people in the room. You don't want to read from your slides. You want to put bullet points in your slides, and some pictures, some graphics, maybe a graph or a diagram that will explain things that are better explained. A picture is worth 1,000 words, so you want to have pictures. And so even in the remaining presentation that you make in this course, I know sometimes in this course you actually share your screen of commands and it's teeny tiny letters on a black screen. It's hard to see and read. But we're in a technical environment, and so that's appropriate. There's no problem with that. But ultimately, when you prepare, let's say your final presentation, you want to make what I'm going to call a cool presentation, something colorful and interesting and inviting, that grabs people's attention and gives over, it represents professionally the investment that you've made in your project. So with that, I guess I'm first going to show you my PowerPoint I was just opening. Okay, so PowerPoint is always on my desktop. I prepare PowerPoints for all different purposes, teaching this, that, and the other thing. And so PowerPoint, again, it's a really powerful tool. So I'm here in the back and I want to make a new one. So I could just open a blank presentation, which will just be, totally blank. But PowerPoint has so much to offer here where I could pick a theme. Okay, I did this once, a winter presentation, a classic corporate teach, financial infographics, more themes here. So I have all these is all free. And these are great. These are beautiful and color. There's these color schemes and different stuff that you get from it. And one of the things is, let's say your CV, your resume is also something that that actually you'll probably make that as a Word file. But these themes that are back here in the Microsoft are really valuable to create a new presentation. Here, basic presentation, geometric color block. So we go that. So look at all the different slides they have here for me to, okay, you have the DEI business here, the Arab woman. But here, engaging the audience, make eye contact with your audience to create a sense of intimacy and involvement. Weave relatable stories into your presentation using narratives that make your message memorable and impactful. Encourage questions and provide thoughtful responses to enhance audience participation. Use live polls or surveys to gather audience opinions, promoting engagement and making sure the audience feel involved. So here, Microsoft PowerPoint themselves told us how to make a PowerPoint presentation. And what it does, it frames your message. These things on the side, for example, this frames the message, selecting visual aids, enhancing your presentation, effective delivery techniques. Let's see what they say. This is a powerful tool in public speaking. It involves varying pitch, tone, and volume to convey emotion, emphasize points, and maintain interest. Pitch variation, tone inflection, volume control. I could scream at you, or I could whisper. And that has a very different aspect, that very different, emphasis, and it does different things to the listener. Effective body language, which is sort of hard on Zoom. It doesn't catch, stuff, but Body language enhances your message, making it more impactful and memorable. Eye contact, which you have to look at your camera if you're on Zoom. Purposeful gestures. Maintain good posture. Okay, I got to sit up here. And control your expressions. So these are effective delivery techniques. And these are part of your professional skills that no matter, again, what you do, if you end up teaching cyber, if you work in the SOC, you work as a CISO, you work as a tester, or whatever job you have outside the field of cyber in, but you're going to interact with people and you're going to be presenting information. So your ability, these are communication skills. And that's something that a lot of people do put on the resume. If you just write the words effective communication skills, that doesn't say very much because those are really easy words to write and sort of everybody writes them. But if you say that, mastery of PowerPoint or something like this, the idea is your ability to communicate messages in an effective way is a really important part of your professional success. And my daughter's here, and she was just telling me how her boss, who's a rich and powerful man, but he can't communicate. And he's a very bad communicator. He's sort of violent and nasty. And that's basically going to kill his company. They're going to lose because he's not a good communicator. So effective communications are really, really important. And PowerPoint is one of the important tools that you'll use for effective presentations. Okay. Like how many slides are going to be in your presentation? How fast are you going to show them pacing? These are all questions which I'm not going to answer all the detailed questions about PowerPoint because one of the things we taught you in the course is to Google it. And I actually would like to show you something here that I found on YouTube today, or maybe two things. Oh, 1 second, make sure I get the sound. Okay, share sound. Okay, share sound. Where did it go? Here it is. Okay, so this is, it's like technical detail about PowerPoint. So that's good. This is a YouTube short. Kids they took this picture, they showed us how to add things to it and that we can adjust the transparency of the text box that we create, and then the animation of how the various slides come in. There's a real lot of variety and you can make really eye-capturing images using the tool. So I want to show you something a little more than that. Let's see. Maybe it was this one. Tutorial. Here, okay.
Don't make slides like this ever again. Try this instead. Add a hexagon shape. Hold Control and drag to make a copy. Repeat until you cover half the slide. Select the shapes. Merge them together. Right-click Format and choose Picture Fill. Now format background and choose a gradient. I'm going for a yellow-orange gradient. Add your title, and now the magic starts. Duplicate the slide, grab the image from the bottom of the slide, release when your cursor is at the top of the slide, add your content on the second slide, add some design elements. I'm choosing hexagon shapes with no fill and a white outline. Spread them across the page. Open the Transition tab and choose Push, and there you have it, a slide to grab the audience's attention. Don't forget, stay creative. Don't make
That was pretty cool. Again, showing at a very fast pace, but how to create graphic design images, and these were creative. He was doing them himself, but there's a lot that you can get. I want to show you one more thing in PowerPoint that I use a lot, and that is not the thank you slide, but let's say, okay, selecting visual aids. So I want to put here, I have some data that I want to present. There's something called smart art, and it's really a smart art graphic. So this is great. There's lists, processes, cycles, hierarchies, relationships, matrix, pyramid, etc. So these are pre-made things that you just click on them, and then you fill in the blanks. Okay, so I'll take this one. So I put the text, this is type 1, and this is type 2. And this is example 1. And so PowerPoint is giving us these structures and these smart art things that enhance our presentation and make it look professional. What I do once I find a structure and a background that I like, I duplicate it, and then I change the stuff in here. Um, and I take out the ones, let's say I don't need the one with the Arab woman, so I take her out and so forth. You could change this picture, obviously.
We can't see
So
your
I'm just,
screen.
oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. So I was talking about adding this smart art and choosing things that you do or don't like from the template that you do from PowerPoint. Like, I don't need this woman, so I'm gonna take her out, and I don't even need any picture here, so I'm taking that out entirely. So it's mostly trial and error. My brother's a few years older than me, and he's been, a professional his whole life. He says, I never had to make a PowerPoint presentation because he always had a staff of people who were making them for him, and he could just review them. But now, at the age of 60, he's now making his own PowerPoint presentations. So it's never too late to start. But the basic ideas that I wanted to share this evening were that think about what you're trying to communicate, who's going to be listening, use bullet format. Don't rewrite your paper in the slides. You want to use here, like they have four bullets here, and these are pretty small words. So like, instead of make eye contact with your audience to create a sense of intimacy and involvement, that's too many words. So it should have said eye contact. Okay. And that way the font can be bigger. The rule of thumb for font in a PowerPoint presentation is 18 is the smallest. Anything smaller than 18 can't really be read. So that's what you want to have, fewer words in your bullets, and have at least 18 font, and it's better if it's, like 20 or 24, something like that. That catches the eye. You don't want to have too many things going on the screen. This is quiet enough. It's in the background, but it frames it. But if I have a whole bunch of images, I sometimes do that, but it's not a good policy. You don't want to distract people with the images. You want to create focus, that it focuses their attention. Those were my concepts tonight that I wanted to share. That whenever you're presenting to a group in the class or professionally, it's a good idea to prepare just a few slides of PowerPoint. It's a very powerful tool. It's the same thing if you don't have Microsoft Office. So I will show you that just for a second before I finish up, and that is Google Slides. So let me pull that up. Okay. I'm in my Google account, and I go to my Google Drive, and I want to make a new Google Slides. I think Google Slides is not as robust as Microsoft PowerPoint, but it has most of the same things. And today there's other things. There's Canva, which is like a graphics program. And see, look at all these great templates they're giving us: an investor pitch deck, a leadership workshop, digital transformation, company sales deck, portfolio, company overview, right? This is really valuable stuff that I choose the Q1 business report, and it says it's, okay, insert all the slides. And then I manipulate it. I take out what I don't need, and, look how much more professional that is than just starting with black and white. So there's a real lot of valuable stuff here, both in Google Slides or in Microsoft PowerPoint, also in Canva, or wherever you choose to go to find the tool that you feel most comfortable with. But this is the professional way to present information, is using a presentation like this. If anybody has specific questions, you're welcome to ask. Otherwise, I thank you very much for listening. And we wish you a Chag Kosher V'Sameach. We'll see you after the holiday, B'ezrat Hashem. Dori, Chag Sameach.
Chag Sameach.
Thank
See
you.
Shalom, shalom.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you.
Pleasure. Shalom, shalom.
Thank you. Thank you.